Shalom to you. Shalom. I'm going to let this get up and going. Shalom to you. We got a good lesson. Decided to just bring it to you outside here in Mother Nature. But yeah, I got a good lesson here. I've been wanting some stuff been wanting to teach on. And what I'm trying to do is get over to my YouTube on here so I can make sure the feed's up and everything's good. Y'all give me thumbs up or put okay in the comments if everything looks good to you on there. I'm on my way over here, but shalom to y'all. All right, I see some people in there. It's trying to load up. All right. So yeah. But shalom. Okay. So y'all gave me thumbs up over there on YouTube. That's good. I'm heading over to Facebook. Make sure everything's good over there. And if it is, we will get things up and going. Looks like it's skipping over here on Facebook. I'm gonna wait for somebody to just give me confirmation over on Facebook. But as you could tell by the lesson, it's gonna be a good lesson. And what it's about is, and I'm not just talking about things I see. I'm talking about stuff I've went through myself. Stuff I've seen in myself, so people don't think I'm just coming off the fly with stuff. All right. Well, we're going to get things up and going. It looks like Facebook's skipping over there. But anyway, like I said, the title of this lesson, are you about action or excuses? Okay, and that's the title of this lesson. Are you about action or excuses? And the way this came about is, in my life, one area in particular where I realized I was just making excuses for years was one of the major times, I would say. It was the first time I really consciously took this thing on, was when I was like 27 years old, and I realized I hadn't been in any relationships. The ones that I was in were just real short and really not fruitful, and I was just making excuses. I was blaming women for it and all types of stuff. It's the weather, it's this, it's that, it's the other. I'm going to try to get all the way out of this shade, so y'all bear with me. But I just made all types of excuses about it. And it wasn't until I just owned it and stopped making excuses and started taking action that the situation changed. And what that did with doing that, let me try to get this thing, there we go. So with owning the situation, what that did for me is, what that ended up doing is making, I ended up going through the fear, going through the uncomfortable situation, because that's what I was pulling away from, and just facing myself, looking at myself for what I was worth, and ended up rectifying the situation. But in doing that, in getting my relationship situation in order, because it gave me a deeper understanding, and it also gave me discernment. And when I say gave me discernment, I see people who make a lot of excuses. You could just spot them a mile away. I see men who are just chronically single and they can't. I know what it is. I can see it on them, and they will have any, you know, all types of excuses. And at the end of the day, it's just, hey, you're not willing to face yourself and own it. You're and that's just one of the areas. There's a ton of areas. One a big area is and at the core of it is just you don't want to do it. You don't want to go through the pain. It's a type of laziness of not wanting to develop and grow spiritually. You know, whether it be you know, you see a lot of people, hey, I'm in the truth, but they don't really treat it like they talk about it. It could be going to some type of it could be being late for events, or just really not treating saying here's a good example. Folks be like, they're saying, oh, I love the Most High, and they almost all of them could outtalk me on how much they love the Most High. They can articulate it perfectly, way better than I can, because I don't really go around like, oh, the Most High, and quoting stuff in Hebrew and sounding like, you know, I am a prophet, the prophet. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, but in my actions, I can communicate it very well. And I see a lot of people, man, they talk all artfully and all that stuff like that. But then you just sit back and look at their life and you see exactly what's going on. And the book tells you, you will know them by their fruits. It said the Most High's word is a discerner of the thoughts and intent of the heart. So if you and that's on yourself. Like, you will know yourself by your fruits. And what's happened, people have deceived themselves, deceived their own selves into feeling like they've arrived, that they're in the truth. You know, when there's all types of stuff going on in their life that shows the exact opposite. You have a lot of men out here wrestling with lust. Now, this is a heavy one. Now, this is for the men. You got a lot of men out here, they're wrestling with lust. They're wrestling with pornography addiction. They don't have a wife. You sit there and look at them, you know they wrestling with it. It's like they have no outlet, you know. Hey, bro, what's going on? Oh, the Most High, he working with me. He dealing with me. In his time, gotta get, like, it's cleverly adopted things they're telling themselves, most of it from Christianity. Because Christianity, and when I say Christianity, I'm saying the brand Christianity. I'm not saying what that word stands for, but these churches out here that call themselves Christianity, the whole thing is built on excuse making. Just excusing, coming up with excuses to keep sinning. Avoiding facing yourself and getting your mind right, okay? The whole thing's based on that. Based on, hey, justifying, hey, you know, everybody sins, you know, hey, you know, and not holding you accountable. Not encouraging you to go to war and face yourself. Face your flesh. Face your carnal nature. So you hear people adopt these sayings, for lack of a better word, from Christianity, like, oh, you know, hey, Lord know my heart. He know my heart. He, in his time, you can't rush the Lord's work. In the meantime, you're whacking off to porn. You're full of lust. You're one step away from being a molester out here, and you're not facing yourself, and you're not doing any work. And that's one of the most extreme examples I could give you, because coming from being a man, and because I grew up in Christianity, and the day I walked away from the church and said, I'm done with this, I'm going to find the answers myself, that was the day I really got on the path and started facing myself. And then the Most High brought me all the way back around, back to the Word, but with a true understanding of it, not a fake, evil, wicked understanding of it. So I want to ask, but many churches leading sheep to slaughter, they read a Bible and talks about it, but then they say we are all sinners. That is lukewarm. Yeah, it is. It's real. It's a real cleverly deceptive way to get you comfortable in sin. For what? Filthy lucre's sake. At the end of the day, it all comes back to the money. You know what I'm saying? They know they can draw in large numbers of people if they don't have to make them do one of the most uncomfortable things you could do, and that's face yourself. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of folks are full of excuses, like brother here said, is ignorance, but a lot of times it's willful ignorance. And when you read the book for what it's worth, it's clearly speaking against it all through it. You know what I'm saying? It says faith without works is dead. And then it goes on. There's a verse there where it says, if the spirit, it says something to the extent, if the spirit is not in the body, it's going to be dead. It's just going to lay there and do nothing. And that's what a lot of people are doing in their lives. They're just sit. The church tells them, "Oh, just wait on Lord. Just go in there screaming and hollering like a nut, and just continue to be a lust-filled nightmare, or whatever it is that you're struggling with." A lot of people treat the Hebraic walk like a social club. Hey, I just go on the weekend and this, that, and the other. When, like, I'm trying to show people this is really about building a nation with brotherhood first off, and group economics, and working together and coming together and doing stuff, and breaking away from this society that everybody claims in all their lessons and the way they teach. Oh, they hate this society so bad, but they steadily going to McDonald's every day, Walmart, all that, and they're not trying to do group economics or develop their self, develop your own develop yourself so you're able to interact with people in a more fruitful way. I see there's so many people in this Hebrew walk, they make excuses, but I don't waste time. I quickly see that they're not about it, because I'm like, if you were about it, you'd have done some personality work. You'd have kept the script where it says, hey, show yourself to be friendly to your brother, or just basic, simple, surface stuff, But like I said, a lot of what's out there in the Hebrew community is just Christianity with a more historic understanding. That's all it is. That's why here, because even me, I looked at myself. I'm like, oh, here I am. How many years into this truth? And outside of that, I'm still functioning the same economically, socially, all that as I was before. So, excuses or action. So I'm like, what this? Where's the issue at? And I'm looking at the issue is we need people who really taking action. Um, People like Pastor Dow is taking action. People like Zadok and Israel, like those people are really walking this thing out. Studying and teaching all this stuff really don't do nothing if you're not using it. You know, all these laws, statutes, and commandments are to enable us to be able to do business together, to live in close proximity to each other. You know, that's when you really see the power and the genius of what he gave us. But everybody's just going through the motions. They're basically just doing Christianity, you know, just with a better history lesson. That's it. You know, a Hebrew Christian lesson. I mean, but they're still functioning with a church mindset. Give the money instead of the pastor. Give the pastor your tithes. No, give your moray a donation. You know, it's just different terminology, same crap. Same lust-filled dog, same flaming homosexual, same sin, just different class. It's like you on a college campus and you just switch classrooms. And you know, and it's just at the end of the day, when you boil it down to what it really is, it's just making excuses so you don't have to face yourself. Okay? Absolutely. I put many people are just lazy, don't want to reject sin, but they think they are going to heaven when they die. Yeah, and the thing is yeah, they don't want to do the heavy lifting. Cuz like I said, you know, coming into this, I studied everything out, you know, and did a lot of studying and got a good understanding of our history, our doctrine, and these other religions, and did a bunch of studying and studied the Hebrew and had a good understanding. But then I was like, I began looking, I was like, but at the end of the day, where we need to focus on is getting our minds right. So I kind of let all that fall off. I still know it. I got my notes and stuff, but I see these people, they build their whole whatever around, you know, just carnal knowledge, you know. Oh, you know, they know this captivity, they know that captivity, but why did we go into that captivity? Because we didn't have our minds right. So where you need to be focusing, getting your mind right. Okay? So, so yeah, so at the end of the day, yeah, we have to be about getting our minds right. We gotta come there, like there's no way we're gonna come together, we're gonna live on a community, we're gonna do all this stuff. Like there's no way I would do it with some person struggling with lust. They don't know how to be a masculine man. Therefore, women aren't attracted to them, and and you could see the femininity on them from 20 miles away. You could discern what they're dealing with, and they're and they think nobody sees them. You know, you're not gonna come together with anybody who, you know, they're shysty. And they're so shysty that they're deceiving themselves. So why would you go into business or begin living in close proximity with them? You're not going to deal on any level. You're not going to build or come together with somebody who's lying to themselves. Because you know they're going to lie to you. You're not going to deal with anybody in any meaningful way who's not honest with themselves. They make excuses to themselves of why they're in the condition they're in or why they're in the predicament they're in. And then when they get with you and they screw things up around you, they're going to make those same excuses they make to themselves. And they believe them because they tell that to themselves all the time. So they're going to tell the same things to you when they come in. So all that to say, going back, this is where this is the weighty matter. Like this is where this the laborious work that needs to be done, is being able to look at ourselves through no filters, just raw for what we are, on an individual basis. Each person look at himself, perfect himself, constantly working, And I'm not saying, hey, you're gonna find something, and it's gonna take some time, to begin to get it right. But it's not gonna take a lifetime. It's not gonna take centuries, years. I see people just totally in covenant with their demons. They cool with the demons, that they got on. And that's what a lot of folks got on. And I'm not. I see them, and I see the demons on folks. I see that they're in covenant with the demons. They're not transparent. They're making excuses. Woof. Exit, stage left. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's what it's about, man. It's a heavy thing. That's what it's about, man. We gotta see this. We gotta stop lying to ourselves. I watch people do lessons, and they'll go off memory, quote 30 verses in a 20-minute lesson, and you don't get nothing out of it. And I could go on and on. There's just a lot of inactivity, this being perpetuated and masked over by a bunch of scripture and stuff like that. Okay? Alright, so hold on one sec. Alright. So yeah, it's a lot of deceived people, and Satan is a deceiver. That's how he functions. So going back, when you look, like what I'm getting ready to do here, is doing the stuff with the real estate, doing stuff with the with food, beginning to push group economics. It's gonna be set up and structured in a way to where, if the people coming into this are these types of people who make excuses and don't take action, they don't own their error, they don't own it, they don't own their sin, they don't own their shortcomings. If it's those types of people, it's gonna weed them out. This is that purification of the gold type stuff. You know what I'm saying? And one of the factors, one of the main things that another one of those things that purify you, is like the crucibles. The purification of gold is relationships, is marriage. You see people, again, I talk about single men out there that are just chronically single. And to me, it was a big sign. Like, to me, I knew back in the back of my mind, something up with me. You know what I'm saying? And when I finally say, you know what, I'm going to figure this thing out. I don't care what I need to do. I'm going to make it happen. You see what I'm saying? So once I did that, the scales started falling off. You know what I'm saying? The deception started to break. Things began to get clear. I began to get confidence and power from on high, according to the word. That spirit of boldness, not that spirit of fear. Because at the end of the day, that excuse making is a spirit of fear that people have, so that they don't have to feel that inner painful thing. And what that painful thing is called, it's called humiliation. And it's a good pain. But people have learned through Christianity to to feel like that's a bad pain, but it's a good pain. Humiliation is a good pain because it makes you humble. Pride is why you see somebody who's gay as hell running around for years, and they call and or somebody running around full of lust. They know they're doing bad things behind the scene, and they quick to tell you, oh, Jesus understand, But see, to a man like me, like to most people, if you haven't really been through this thing real hard, most people, oh yeah, okay. But to somebody like me, it's so glaring and bright, the error where they're at, it's hard not to see. You can't not see it. And people need to go to war, man. We in a spiritual combat, man. This ain't Disney World, So, yeah, and at the end of the day, like Sister Aaliyah said, it's about self-examination to get to the next level. And there's a lot of people, man, they're going through the motions. I don't get fooled by emotionalism and shouting and jumping around and speaking and sounding all set apart and holy and speaking in Hebrew and all this other surface stuff. I don't get into any of that. I'm sitting there looking at fruit. I'm discerning hearts. You see what I'm saying? I don't get swept away in the knowledge and memory retention and none of that. I watch actions because they don't lie. It never lies. And what I've seen lately is very sad. And I'm talking about from the top down type stuff. When I see the moves people are making, and it's not good, man. It's to the point that it's so shocking where I question myself. Maybe I'm not seeing it. Oh no, I shouldn't think that. And then time moves on, and it gets so obvious that I gotta think it. You know what I'm saying? And I gotta trust my discernment. So yeah, yep. So he corrects those that he loves. Yeah, but it's the book says, as a nation, we are a stubborn and stiff-necked people. As a nation, as a race of people. He said if he had came to any of these other races, if he had came to the Asians, to the Indian people over there in India, he said they would have turned quick and got on board with this thing. But he said not us, and I saw it in myself doing this work. I've seen and dealt with a deep-rooted, stubborn, stiff-necked, prideful spirit in me. I've seen it. I've went to war with it enough to where I got strength over it, but sometimes I see that stubborn and stiff-necked knee-jerk response, to make excuses, to not be obedient. So yeah, it's real. It's and then you get in a relationship and it really comes out. Because going into my marriage, I thought I was good. I thought I had done a lot of spiritual development work, which I had, but there was a lot further to go. And same for Sister Corey. Like me and her really grew together because we wanted our thing to work. I see a lot of people going through marriage issues, people been divorced, and they swear it's 100% the other person. When I see it I see a whole bunch of stuff in them. So yeah, man, it's look, a lot of these people have deceived themselves into thinking that they have arrived and they are the anointed of the Most High. Yeah. And y'all calls me every morning at 9:00 and lets me know what I need to tell y'all. And then you looking at them and they couldn't be sloppier than a sloppy Joe. It's crazy out here, y'all. You can't make this stuff up. But yeah, so at the end of the day, though, it like I said, you gotta be. I you know, it's about action and not excuses. Like I see how serious people take this thing. Like, you know, like I'm willing. Like I said, I'm willing to lose money. Like money ain't a thing to doing this thing. What we're doing, like it's so important to have your spirit right. But I see people put money, they'll put all types of stuff in front of coming together as a nation and everything like that. Like I don't even think I really need to even go into all that, you know. So yeah, you know, it's real, it's real, it's real. So yeah, but like I said, I'm we gonna I'm making I'm not wasting time. Um, I'm a I'm gonna make this thing happen. I'm gonna come together with you know like-minded folks who, and I'm not saying people who are perfect and all that, but doing things like what we're talking about doing this. Like if we come together and buy a piece of land or a house or something like that, doing stuff like that is you know it's not gonna it's gonna weed out excuse makers quick. You know, I could look at my email and see that the people who've emailed me, I see the serious people right there. That's a big thing. You know, a lot of people didn't. When I scheduled a Zoom meeting so that we can begin bringing this thing, manifesting this thing, you know, we're really gonna see, you know. So yeah, it's gonna be good though. But at the end of the day, you know, it only takes one. Only takes one. But we're gonna make things happen. All right, let's see what we got. Let's see if y'all got any questions, comments, or concerns. So yeah. But yeah, at the end of the day, what I'm talking about, what I'm hitting on in this message is just all the inactivity, all the fakeness, all the faith without works that's out there. It's widespread. We're swimming in an ocean of faith with no works. Everybody professing and sounding so good when they run in a big ass mouth, but you don't see any action. I just let folks talk. And folks can talk a good game. They can recite scripture and bring it out. What are my thoughts on vegan lifestyle? It's good. You know, is that what the Bible tells us to do? That was Christ a vegan? You know, no, but there's nothing wrong with it. You know, yeah, you can't go wrong with that. But I know vegans that's full of lust. I know eating vegetables ain't gonna bring a demon up out of you. You see what I'm saying? Eating vegetables, like I know plenty of wicked people that eat vegetables. You see what I'm saying? And I know plenty of people who eat a bunch of meat and stuff like that, but they got their minds right. Now, is absolutely veganism, eating a more vegetable heavy diet is gonna put you in a better mindset so you can do spiritual combat and spiritual warfare. Yeah, but I'm not. I gotta. What I do is I teach the stuff I teach on spiritual combat and stuff like that. By trade, I'm a mechanic, and you know, I worked on cars my whole life, And as my profession, my full-time job, I'm an aircraft mechanic. So by my nature, I'm about troubleshooting and finding problems and pinpointing exactly what the issue is. And what the issue is our people have a spirit of fear on them, and they don't have a spirit of boldness, and that's what causes them to be defeated by lust and bitterness, unforgiveness. You see a lot of our women, they got a lot of bitterness, unforgiveness, due to hurts that have happened to them with rape and molestation. A lot of our women, I showed you this statistic, not on average, black women are aborting babies at 900 babies a day. And these gay Christian churches and these Hebrew organizations, they don't want to address that because they want to get their numbers up. And when you begin to correct our people, they don't like it. They run. That's why Spiritual Combat on Facebook and YouTube has slow, organic growth. Sometimes it could get stagnant depending on what I'm teaching on. But that's what we're called to do. I put out a solid video yesterday. I think his name is Lifestyle of Yahuwah, Following Yeshua, something like that. Put out a solid lesson of why you shouldn't do ministry full time. That is not biblical, because then you're going to compromise on what you're teaching. Okay? You're going to compromise on what you're teaching. Okay? So you said the body is like a machine. Yep, it is. It is. But like I said, the reason I don't harp on veganism and diet super hard is because, you know, you got homosexual vegans. That's big in the gay for community, you know? So, you know, so I don't harp on stuff like that because that's not going to cast a demon out, you know? Repentance will, though. You know, humility will. Humility will get you right. Humility will let you know, hey, you know what? I worship food. I'm overcome by surfeiting. Okay? Humility will do that, you know. Just telling somebody you need to eat vegetables won't, if they stubborn and stiff-necked and they haven't dealt with that, they're not going to receive nothing. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I feel you on that, though. All right, hold on one sec. Let me, so anyway, yeah, that's the lesson for today. Like I said, the title of it is, you know, excuses versus action. You know, we got to be about that action. Like Marshawn Lynch said, yeah, I don't like talking, man. He's like, I'm about that action, boss. That's a soldier right there. He, in that one line, he said more than Christian pastors have said in 100 years. Tell you. All right. So anyway, y'all, with that said, y'all, I am going to wrap this lesson up. Go ahead and comment on what you think some of the excuses folks make, or if you think people make excuses, or if there's some other issues. Definitely put that in the comments. Would love to hear from you. And with that said, I'm Michael Israel. You're watching Spiritual Combat. Shalom.